Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. I am your host, Zombie Freak 77. Today we are going to be doing a top 5 list of my favorite zombie movies. Obviously by the name you can tell that I love everything zombie. But you'd be surprised, there are a few little bits and pieces of the zombie culture that I do not like. I may touch on it a little bit in this video, but to each their own. Some people like it, some people don't. This is the list of things that I like. Top 5 list of my favorite zombie movies. Coming in at number 5, we have an original, a cult classic. It's Night of the Living Dead, the one released in 1968. Directed by George A. Romero, the man with the biggest glasses I have ever seen, and stars Dwayne Jones and Judith O'Dea. Now, this one is number 5 on my list because it's the one that I watched growing up. It's introduced me to the zombie culture. It introduced me to zombies in general. It's one of the classic originals. There are still some zombie movies that were made before this, such as White Zombie, but those weren't the flesh-eating brain zombies. They were just basically slaves. This movie was so successful that it had remakes both in 1990 and in 2006. There was a 3D version released, and not to mention all the sequels and, let's say, copycats, such as Land of the Dead, Survival of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Diary of the Dead, Day of the Dead, you name it, it's probably out there. But this is number 5 on my list. Making it into the number 4 slot on our list is Resident Evil. It was released in 2002 and based on the Capcom game of the same name. It stars Milla Jovovich, who plays Alice. The success of this movie spawned 5 sequels: Resident Evil Apocalypse, Extinction, Afterlife, Retribution, and the final chapter. The reason it makes it on the number 4 on my list is because I have kind of a history with the game. Back when I owned a PlayStation, I believe I was about 18 or 19 years old, I didn't have a memory card. If you don't know what a memory card is, man, are you ever lucky not to live through that era. The game was so hard to beat and so intriguing that I just kept playing it and playing it and playing it, and since I didn't have a memory card, I had to leave my PlayStation on. And finally, after 3 weeks, my girlfriend actually went out and bought me a memory card, and I was finally able to save it and finally beat it. And I've beaten all the games that they have brought out for it except for Resident Evil 4. That's the only one I have not beaten. But that's why it makes it onto this list. Coming in at number 3 on our list is 28 Days Later, released in 2002. The movie stars Cillian Murphy as Jim, a bike courier who just abruptly wakes up in the hospital after being in a coma. Takes place in London. I believe the very beginning of the movie starts in Cambridge, in a research facility that's experimenting on chimpanzees, where they have injected the chimps with a rage-inducing virus, and the Greenpeace, animal lovers, whatever you want to call them, come in and want to release the animals, and the scientists are saying, no, don't. They don't listen to them. They release them anyways, and they're attacked, and that's what starts it. The reason I like this movie so much is the actual premise of the beginning part of the actual movie, where Jim wakes up and there's nobody. There's nothing. You see dirt and garbage everywhere. It's so quiet, so peaceful, but you think to yourself, well, what would I do in that situation? And that's what caught my attention and got my imagination going. The movie spawned a sequel 28 weeks later that was released in 2007. Didn't find it quite as appealing. It started giving zombies a little bit of emotion. Even though, I should say this, I don't think of these as actual zombies. They're not the slow, skulking, moaning type. These ones, if they see you, they will run after you and they will tear you apart, eat you. I don't actually know what they do. I know to change, all you need to do is be touched by the blood of the infected. Once that happens, you're infected with that rage virus and all hell breaks loose. So that's number 3 on our list. Our number 2 pick on my list of favorite zombie movies is Dawn of the Dead 2004, the remake of the one that was done sometime in the 70s, I believe, 70s or 80s. I don't have that information with me. Of course I don't. It stars Sarah Polley, Ving Rhames, Mekhi Phifer, and a host of others. Directed by Zack Snyder, who did Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman. And the screenplay was written by James Gunn, who is, of course, known for his Guardians of the Galaxy movies. The plot behind this is a group of strangers are holed up in a mall during a zombie apocalypse where they have to put up with each other, put up with the zombies outside. Finally, after a couple of weeks of surviving, they decide to make a run for it. They come up with a big plan, and of course, the further into the escape they get, the more of them die. It has one of the best endings of a zombie movie that I've seen. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but if you're going to watch the movie for the first time, watch into the credits. Just keep it rolling. The reason that this is one of my favorites is because when my son and I travel around, we like to look at buildings and ask ourselves, would that hold up for us in a zombie apocalypse? It's actually made for a lot of fun times when you're driving around bored to death. And then we'll just say, oh, there's a good place, or oh, that's a good place, or that place would suck. But yeah, so that comes in at number 2 on our list. Before we get to our number 1 pick on this list, I would like to give both an honorable mention and a dishonorable mention. Dishonorable mention goes to Warm Bodies. The movie is not scary. It's almost like a drama. It's about zombies falling in love with humans and then falling in love so much that they start to become human again. No. Don't do that. That's a way to ruin a genre. It's... Why? Why would you do that? I don't know why anybody would want to do that. Why would you want zombies to fall in love? It's like, they don't need love. They're zombies. They love to eat. That's it. They're in love with the flesh. That's all that they love. Please, stop. And the honorable mention will be World War Z. The reason I'm giving this an honorable mention is because I actually read the book before the movie came out and was super excited about it. The reason it didn't make it onto the list, though, is because there's very little about the book in the movie. I know I sound like one of those, oh, I read the book first and the book is better. But it's true. The book is an oral history of the zombie war, written by the writer from an interviewer perspective. He travels around the world interviewing people that were affected by it, and the little stories that they tell I expected to see in the movie, and I didn't. The zombies climbing the wall in Israel is one that I remember from the book. That's about it. That's really practically all about it. I wanted to see the story about the little girl that was left in the church. I wanted to see the story about the people who were camping and were starting to murder each other for food and fuel. It was a disappointment, but I still liked it. It was an okay movie. It just wasn't based on the book. Coming in at number 1 on the list is Zombieland. It was released in 2009. Stars Jesse Eisenberg, Woody Harrelson, Emma Stone, and Abigail Breslin. The movie follows 4 characters that start off as technically it starts off as one character, and then they meet another character, and then they meet the other 2 characters, and they continue traveling across America until they get to, I believe it's Los Angeles. I don't know where Pacific Playland is, but I'm guessing it's close to Hollywood because that's where they end up, and get that hilarious cameo by Bill Murray. That part in itself I could watch over and over again. That's the reason why it's number 1 on the list, is because it had so many elements. The way it was narrated by Jesse Eisenberg, giving you the little tips and tricks that he does to survive the zombie apocalypse, almost makes the movie like a guide. The off-the-wall comedy of Woody Harrelson with all of his I don't give a shit attitude about everything was great. The always hot Emma Stone was in there. And for the little kids, you got Abigail. You know, she's much more adult now, but yeah, great movie. I would watch it over and over again when it first came out on DVD. I think I saw it in the movie theater twice. It's something that my son and I watch a lot. If somebody comes over and I say, hey, you want to watch a zombie movie? I'll put Zombieland on. Absolutely great film. My number 1 film of all time. And that's it, guys. Those are my top 5 favorite zombie movies that I've seen so far. What did you think of my list? Do you agree with it? Would you switch them around? Do you totally disagree with it? Let me know down in the comments. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to this channel. It's kind of new to me doing these kind of things, so let me know if you have any feedback, if I should change something, do something better. If I'm really excelling at something, please let me know. Give me that little pat on the back. Let me know I'm doing a good job. Until next time, guys, take care. Bye-bye.